I've trained calisthenics for 10 years. I've solely focused on strength. But what's on the other side? What can we learn from endurance? This is my journey to running a 70-kilometer ultramarathon in Japan. Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 20 of Road to Shimanami, and well, today is kind of a recovery day. And lately, I feel like I've been making a lot of videos, like talking about easy days should be easy and this and that. But every time I make the video, I feel like afterwards I failed. I didn't go easy enough. And, is that a bad thing? No, because I'm also just figuring out how to train along the way, right? And today, again, I'm gonna try to have an easy day and basically more extreme than last time, so even easier than last time. And that's just the process of trial and error. When you start a new kind of training or you start training in general, right? Maybe you're just a complete beginner when it comes to training, or you're just a beginner in a certain area like me. I'm a beginner in endurance and running. When you start new training, you're gonna find out some stuff, right? You're gonna have to try stuff, fail, and then try again, and perhaps fail again until you succeed. So that's kind of the process I'm going through every time I'm trying these easy days, and either they are a success or they're not, but every time I at least learn something and I can adjust along the way. So today is another attempt at an easy day, and when it comes to the running, I feel like that was a success. So this morning I did my usual 10 kilometers because I feel like that's kind of a good bare minimum to have to just complete on a daily basis. But I can adjust the pace however I like. So I added some walking in between. I did 3 minutes of running and then a 1 minute walking interval on repeat. And my average pace was like 7 minutes and 10, which is exactly where I want to be today. So let's see if tomorrow it had an effect. But yeah, that's something that I don't know at the moment, right? I'm tired from yesterday. I still have to recover, so I'll have to see what the effect is of today's workout on tomorrow's one. But anyway, when it comes to the upper body stuff, when it comes to the calisthenics, today is gonna be, well, a recovery workout as well. And lately, I've been trying to do the recovery workouts with like light planche and front lever training. I feel like, because I always do the same thing, I always do planche push-ups, right? I kind of have this reference inside of me. I have this thing to beat from last time, and well, because it's a light day, it's of course possible to beat it the next time, but then it becomes less light, and that's kind of what I've been running into. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm just gonna do something different, something I don't have a reference for, something I don't need to beat any scores for. Like, so I can just go at it and see what happens, right? So I don't have a reference of last time to beat, and that's, I think, gonna allow me to train lighter. So what's it gonna be? I'm gonna do some handstands. Yes, for the first time in I don't I don't know how long, in a very long time. So what you're gonna see is probably I'm gonna try and go in a handstand, and even though I can planche, I'm just gonna fall over. But anyway, I'm gonna just do a couple like handstand combos, perhaps some light planches in between, but nothing too crazy. And probably I'll be doing this for like half an hour, like 5 or 6 combos in total. Nothing crazy, but that's exactly the point today, right? So let's see what happens. Perhaps, as I figure out how to handstand again, there will be some tips. So that will be exciting. All right. The transition to one arm handstand is completely gone, but when it comes to the handstand, there are two things you need to balance. First of all, you need your fingers when you're falling towards the side of your back. Then you can just, push your fingers, and it's easy because you go back, right? And that's why the more power you have, the easier the handstand is, because the stronger you are, the more grip you have, the stronger you can push back into the ground. But when you're falling to the side of your belly, it's kind of like this rotational thing. You bend your arms a little bit and you allow yourself to swing back, I guess. So it's kind of this, yeah, rotation thing. You go like this when you want to prevent yourself from falling to the belly. But falling to the belly is, the thing you want to avoid most because it's the most difficult one to correct. But anyway, yeah, let's do some handstand attempts and perhaps some planches in between. All right, just on the floor. All right, not too bad, although I was rotating a little bit. I'm gonna try the other side and then tell you how you can shift your balance. All right, the right is not my balancing hand, but when it comes to shifting your weight onto one arm for the one arm handstands, basically what you try and do is you try to, well, first of all, put your hands closer than you usually do, because if you're like this, you have to transfer your weight further. So you put your hands kind of close, and then you try to push as far as possible with one hand, and then you try to pull away your shoulder on the other side. And by pulling away your shoulder and pushing as hard as possible on this one, you will kind of shift naturally and you'll get some space to basically now place your fingers, which one hand and 5 fingers, that's the first progression towards a one arm handstand. Because first of all, you try 5 fingers, you do like 20 seconds, then you go to 4, 3, 2, 1, and then eventually, well, you can start really trying to do the one arm handstand. But I'm gonna do a couple more attempts of this, and well, there's nothing more to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Whew. This felt heavy, which is not good because that means I'm using power, and handstand is not a power move, it's a balancing move. So I kind of have to learn that. That's why I think it's a good thing in the handstand to aim for like sets of 20 seconds before you move on, because that means if you can do the set of 20 seconds, that you're not using your power anymore. You're now using more of your balance. But anyway, couple more sets. Ah, fuck. I'll rest a bit for the second one for the right arm. That's also 20 seconds. Nice. Okie dokie, so that's it for today's training. And well, watching back the handstand clips, I learned that if I really want to do some useful, like training that is not tiring, that is not going to affect my running, I can work on some shoulder mobility because holy shit, it might as well be a planche, right? In the handstand, my arms are like this, and then my body is just on it like this instead of it should be straight because then that's the most efficient way to fight against gravity. And when you have a lack of shoulder mobility like me, you're gonna see that your body is gonna kind of go like this. You're gonna be in a banana handstand like me, and that's inefficient because basically at all times you will have to use your shoulder strength to keep yourself up. That's something that you want to avoid. So I guess I have some things to work on, but hey, it's gonna be fun nonetheless. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's workout. And well, only some balance, nothing really extreme, right? Nothing tiring, nothing high intensity wise. But that's exactly what I need because when it comes to these recovery days, basically, or not even only the recovery days, but when it comes to this entire calisthenics endurance journey, or the road to Shimanami, what I've been noticing is, well, I've increased my running tremendously. I've doubled it, so to speak. Not so to speak, I've actually just doubled it, right? I'm running 10 kilometers every day instead of 5. I've doubled my running, but I haven't halved my training or anything. My training is, even though it's less intense, I would say, than it was before, it's still quite intense. It still takes quite a lot out of me. And it's okay, I think, to, train with intensity every now and then, right? That's what I love. That's, every now and then it's okay, but I feel like I've been overdoing it. So I'm really going to have to just find a balance between, the running and the training, because the thing I'm worried about most at the moment in this entire journey is, will my legs and especially my feet be able to keep up, right? Will my feet, they feel painful sometimes. Will they be able to keep recovering? And in order to, make sure that they do recover, I have to basically give it my all in the recovery department. I have to be disciplined in the training that I'm doing that is not related to running. Because guess what? Everything that you do with your body is a unit, so it's gonna have an effect, right? So if I want to have my feet recover, then an extreme chest workout will have a negative effect on it because my body will need to use resources in order to recover my chest, while it could be using those resources in order to recover my feet. So, like I said, it's not bad to have intense days, but you kind of have to gauge how much you can handle. And that's something that I've been struggling to do over the past 3 weeks now almost. But, it's something that I guess along the way I will be finding out. But I really have to dial it in because if I fail to dial in my recovery, if I fail to dial in the balance between strength training and the endurance, that basically means that I will fail to recover on the running department and then have to adjust there as well, which is what I want to avoid, right? I want to increase my running distance, and at the moment I'm like even worried that I will be able to keep up the daily 10 kilometers. But that's something, like I said, that we'll have to figure out along the way. That's trial and error, and well, I'll do everything in my power to find out how I can achieve my goals. But as long as you're living day by day, as long as you're taking your goal day by day and taking the actions that you think are correct with the knowledge that you have, as long as you try to do the right thing, there will be no true regret. So that's what I'm gonna try and do going forward. But yeah, that's it for today's training. Tomorrow is gonna be, well, another running day, another training day, and we'll see what happens. Perhaps it will just be another balancing day like this, because I really wanna have my body recovered so that I can run smoothly and basically spare my feet. If you run stiff, like if my body is stiff and I run stiff, then the impact on my feet is going to be bigger as well. So like I mentioned, everything is connected. But anyway, that's something that I can explain tomorrow as well. So I'll see you then.